Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the April 28th readings in Al-Anon's Courage to Change and a Little Time for Myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I'll take a minute and look this over. The question is, in which of my relationships do I struggle with setting boundaries today? This passage begins with a person talking about a conference-approved literature weekly study group that they were involved with. And they were reading Discovering Choices, Recovery and Relationships when they came across a sentence about false connections with people. And it really resonated with them, and they all of a sudden saw how people-pleasing was a problem for them and how easily they felt betrayed by people who they thought were their friends. So they did a 4th-step inventory based on that feeling and decided that they had different types of friends. They had business friends, friends that they had similar hobbies with, friends they just had fun with, and friends they could confide in. So learning this about themselves helped them to set healthy boundaries within their relationships, within their friendships. Today's reminder. In Al-Anon, we learn to respect ourselves and accept people as they are. The quote is from Discovering Choices, Recovery and Relationships. Healthy relationships are challenging. We first have to understand ourselves as being imperfect. And once we accept ourselves, it's easier for us to accept others. So in which of my relationships do I struggle with setting boundaries? I don't know. I guess challenges with boundaries happen in all relationships of mine. I mean, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going through in my mind all different kinds of situations, and every relationship I have there can be issues with boundaries on different levels regarding different circumstances, different things, but I feel like the idea of having healthy boundaries touches upon every aspect of my life. And I think that I'm very lucky to have a lot of very healthy, meaningful connections with people. But I still feel like maintaining healthy boundaries is the reason why I feel like I have so many healthy connections. I think I said that clearly. I hope I did. So the question is, do I struggle with setting boundaries? Like, which relationships do I struggle to set boundaries? I don't know why I missed that. Um, Maybe I didn't miss it. Because I'm thinking the reason why I have such great relationships is because I set boundaries. Is it tricky to sometimes set boundaries? Yes, depending on the situation. If I think someone wants to do something and I'm not interested in doing it, it's hard for me to put my foot down and say, I'm sorry, that just doesn't work for me. Because I have to determine why it doesn't work for me. And maybe I'm just being stubborn or I'm being fearful about something that I don't need to be stubborn or fearful about. And then there's the relationship where I was gonna say I was gonna say that my relationship with my son, I only have one child, and I would say that we have very good boundaries, but it's really challenging. Like it's it's hardest for me to say no to him than it is for me to say no to any other human being. And I have said no quite a lot, but when I tell you that, like, if I was going to push the limits of myself, it would be for him. And I have pushed the limits of myself for him in the past. Like, no other relationship has pushed me to the limits that my relationship with my child has. But I've talked to my sponsor about that, and because I don't have a therapist anymore, but I'm sure I talked about it with my therapist. I went to a therapist for 8 years, and I'm sure we talked a lot about that. But now I talk to my sponsor about it, and she reassures me um, that that's normal to feel, like children are special. There's no relationship like that of parent and child. So I would say if I was going to choose one relationship where I struggle with setting boundaries, it would probably be that one. But again, I feel like the older my son gets, the more mature he is, the more the more like I think he's really reasonable, responsible. I'm just so amazingly proud of him. Like he is his own person. Like I feel like it's like who am I to be proud of him? But like I am just so in love with like who he is as a human being. That's amazing. That feels really good. Um, but also like to a much lesser extent, I feel like I need to set boundaries with, like I said, in all my relationships. All right, so now I'm talking in circles, and I'm going to wrap it up on this. But I think a lot of people would probably say the same thing, but I don't know. That's how I feel about that today. All right, I'm going to take a minute and look this over. This is an interesting passage about sometimes weaknesses are actually strengths because they provide us with opportunities to grow and learn. This person talks about how they always thought that they were shy and weak and they prayed for courage. They uh, were very hesitant of sharing with their at their meeting. They felt very self-conscious and they felt uncomfortable about sharing their secrets. But what they did was they took tiny steps and they approached single people after meetings, like one-on-one, with people who shared something that this person really resonated with. And over time, they had done that with so many people that sharing with the group seemed a lot more comfortable because they had already talked with so many people in the group one-to-one. So realizing this um, made them realize how strong they really were and how courageous they were and how they can overcome fears by taking little tiny steps. Today's reminder: everything about us can be used for good. And we can look at our insecurities and things that frighten us as things that we have yet to learn. The quote is from As We Understood. I think this is referring to our higher powers. It says that we may not get answers that we want, but it may be what we need. And when I hear that, I think about, it doesn't say higher power, but that makes me think of, when I pray for something, I may not get what I want, but I may end up getting what I need. And that brings up something else for me, which is that I don't know if I pray for specific things. I mostly pray for understanding my higher power's will for me and the power to carry that through. Like step 11. So, great readings as always. We'll close out with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.